This is the award-winning Lee Pitts Live.
This portion of Lee Pitts Live is brought to you by Hodges University, celebrating 25 years of educating Southwest Florida.
Working for Mr. Edwards, Southwest Florida, by Warren Allen. Remember that name, remember the title of the book, Working for Mr. Edwards. It is going to be a bestseller, and it will probably be a movie one day starring Denzel Washington. Who knows? So without further ado, let's welcome the young author of this book, I better get him now before he blows up too much. Warren Allen, man. Congratulations on a great book.
Thank you, sir. Pleasure to be here.
How did that feel, though, when I say, hey, it's going to be a movie one day starring Denzel Washington?
Oh, I think that's fantastic. I would love to see it be a movie. Yes, it is a movie.
I had to take a trip up to Washington, D.C. last week for some stuff related to me as a swim instructor. And I was reading the book on the airplane, and I couldn't put it down, man. I read it back, and I had a passenger sitting next to me on the plane, and she said, why are you so deep into that book? I said, it's such a great book, so it held my attention. So what are some of the responses you've been getting from people?
It's been very positive so far. I mean, this is my first one. I'm so happy and honored to release my first project like this. And so far, it seems like everybody's been enjoying it. The feedback has been wonderful.
Now, if Denzel Washington were to star in your movie, which character would he be and why?
Because it's Denzel, I'd have to say Mr. Edwards.
Okay, that's what I was thinking.
Because he is such a seasoned actor. I mean, just veteran at what he does. Is just a master of his craft. As the character Mr. Edwards, he would be playing as a master of his craft.
Okay, tell us, without spoiling the book too much, but who is Mr. Edwards?
Kane Edwards. Mr. Edwards is a very powerful man. He's a huge business mogul and tycoon in the city, Edge City. And he pretty much is the right hand of business in that city. So he pretty much runs things around.
Now, Edge City in the book is a fictitious city in a sense, right?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay, now, when I was reading the book, I'm thinking, okay, Edge City sounds like Atlanta to me. What was Edge City to you?
Edge City is really a combination of any big metropolitan metropolis city you can think of, New York, Chicago, that kind of, or you could say
Atlanta's okay.
Yeah, Atlanta's okay. Just a melting pot of that.
Okay. Now, what is the book about?
The book is about a young man by the name of Jonathan Cross, and he's from a small town. Everybody knows everybody, and he gets this rare but amazing opportunity to move to the big city where he shadows this huge business mogul by the name of Kane Edwards. And from there, the closer that the two of them get, the more their relationship intensifies, the more Jonathan descends into this man's world, the more he finds out everything isn't exactly what it appears to be.
Okay, now, the book is fictional.
Yes.
Okay, now, John Cross, right?
Yes, Jonathan Cross.
No, Jonathan Cross. I'm thinking, could Jonathan Cross possibly be Warren Allen in some way?
In some way, perhaps, but really it's a fictional character.
Oh, fictional. Nothing taken from your own life.
Oh, no, not at all. Only thing we have in common is really we're around the same age.
Okay.
But it's completely fictitious.
Okay. Now, who is the audience for your book? Who can read this book? You would say, can children, adults, all ages, races? Who you say is the demographics?
Well, definitely first all races, but in terms of the demographic, I would say from really high school on. I think it's not just geared towards the young audience, even though I think millennials could really benefit from this story, but really from high school to anyone who enjoys a good read.
What inspired you to write the book?
To sum that
or
up,
to get into writing?
Okay. Well, to sum it up, would be change. I found myself in a situation where I was trying to change my life. I was at a job at the time that I didn't really fully enjoy, and so I did a bit of a self-inventory. You know, what skills do I have in my possession? What can I do to help change my situation? And I remembered writing. That was something I used to excel in at school, so I took a step forward with that, and I started on the journey.
That's great, man. Now, the process of laying out your book, the book is so well written. You have enough in there to keep it suspenseful, what's going to happen on the next page, how is this going to turn out. Then at the same time, you were able to work in some funny things in the book. Tell me how you were able to blend all of that.
Well, really, it started as an organic process. It was, I didn't even have an outline when I first started, but I would I kind of went chapter by chapter, and I broke each chapter down in the beginning, middle, and end. So what's the climax of this chapter? What's the, how is this moving the book forward? And so just kind of bringing those things together, that's how it all kind of came about.
How have you always known that you were going to be a writer, or that you had good writing skills?
To answer that, I didn't. I didn't always know I would be a writer. If someone had told me this before, I'd be pretty much in shock. But the gift was always there. Although I didn't know it was a gift, I just hadn't identified it. It was something, language arts was an area I excelled in at school, but I didn't realize I was always a writer until recently.
Now, you're self-published, is that fair to say?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you have your own publishing company.
Yes.
Explain that to our television audience. What does that mean in terms of you being able to control your destiny?
Yes, well, my publishing company, Allen Literary Works, I started because I really didn't want to go the necessary traditional route of having to go out there and, promote to publishers and like that. So I figured if I could take the reins myself, put it out there, it kind of gave me more control. It allowed me to put the product out there the way I wanted it to, how I wanted to do it, when I wanted to do it. And so it just kind of allowed me to take an entrepreneurial route to go about getting my dream across.
What impact do you hope to have on others through your book and just through your life story?
I would love to inspire people. The impact I like to have on them is inspiration. Other people have inspired me along the way. As cliche as it sounds, if I can do this with no prior experience, hopefully it lights a fire in the next person to go after their own dreams.
How surprised were you the first time when somebody else read your book who wasn't a relative and told you it was a pretty cool book?
I was very pleased, because you have to understand, for years, 5 years actually, I was the only person who had any sort of interaction with these characters. So to find out that someone else enjoyed it was a wonderful experience.
Mm-hmm. Who's your favorite character in the book and why?
It had to be Jonathan.
Okay.
Just because of his story, how he gets out of his own bubble, and ultimately he's out to find himself. And I would say, not giving anything away, but eventually he does. He meets himself on this journey.
Now, we have information on the screen where people can go to your website and get the book, right?
Yes.
They actually can get everything done right there at that website on the screen.
Yes, sir. Yeah, the book is available for purchase at my website, www.iamwarrenallen.com.
Now, have you read the book to anybody, like children, anybody like that, high school kids yet?
No, sir, not yet.
Let's get you to read an excerpt from your book.
Okay. Fantastic here. The music was soothing, but not soothing enough. Jonathan's palms were getting moist, so he rubbed them alongside his dress pants. He was traveling in the elevator alone, nothing but his thoughts to keep him company. And they were doing a pretty good job of it, too. In fact, they were running the show as the elevator continued to climb to the top floor. He imagined what Mr. Edwards might ask him, or what he would be able to hold, or if he'd be able to hold a steady conversation with him.
Now, Jonathan and Mr. Edwards' interaction, do you see that as a positive interaction? Do you see it throughout the process that they couldn't trust each other? How would you view that interaction?
Well, their relationship really kind of hinges on more of like the teacher and the student, the apprentice and the master. And their relationship, I would say it's positive in aspects because they both see things in each other that the other one doesn't, and they both draw out certain things in each other. So it starts off in a positive sense, but it doesn't necessarily end that way, and I'll just leave it at that.
And finally, what do you have to say to people in terms of pursuing their dream? I mean, just you and what you decide to do as a story within itself.
I would tell them a starting point for their life would be them. Find out what it is that you're passionate about. What comes easily to you with the least amount of effort. That's in terms of you being able to identify your gift. And once you do that, take small steps, baby steps. As cliche as it sounds, how do you need an elephant? One bite at a time. So even if it's just you setting out some time to look up information on the internet, that's a step.
Well, Warren, it was once in your head, and now it's actually a reality. It's not being talked about, it's actually real. And I congratulate you on a great book, and I'm looking forward to reading it again. Before we go off the air, I want you to sign this, just write the name right there, so when it blows up too much, people know I got your autograph when I sell it on eBay. We'll be right back.